I knew that I loved music, and I knew it was the only thing I had any skill set in. I thought, I can't believe I'm crap.
Upon stepping up the scale in 2022, Jelly Roll noticed a weight of 563 pounds gazing back from him. The country star's shocking metamorphosis would occur 2 years later. This is the incredible tale of how an ex-drug dealer became the most unexpected celebrity in country music, overcoming obstacles such as overdosing in jail, selling out arenas, eating entire wedding cakes, and shedding 100 to 150 pounds in 6 months. Jason Bradley DeFord, also known as Jelly Roll, came into this world on December 4, 1984, in the harsh neighborhood of Antioch, Tennessee, which is located not far from Nashville. There was anarchy when he was born. Donna, his mother, was suffering from both substance abuse and mental illness. Buddy, his father, was a bookie for illicit gambling and ran a meat company. Jelly Roll's upbringing was marked by chaos and instability because of this. Being an overweight child, his mother bestowed the moniker Jelly Roll onto him. No one ever thought this name would be famous. With 3 elder half-siblings, he rounded out his family of 4 children. Despite the difficulties of life at home, Jelly Roll discovered solace in music. He began to exhibit indications of the skill that would transform his life at the tender age of 9, when he composed his first rap song. He had it rough as a child growing up in Antioch. Poverty, drug use, and criminal activity were all too common. The majority of the residents in the area were unemployed, and those that did frequently resorted to illicit labor in order to make ends meet. While growing up, Jelly Roll claimed he didn't know a single person with a steady employment. There were too many students and not enough money for the local schools. At the age of 12, he had witnessed horrific events no child should have to witness, including drive-by shootings and the murder of a cousin at the hands of gang members. He attended school seldom. Because he was a resident here, criminal activity seemed commonplace to him. By the time he was 14 years old, he knew the names and street pricing of dozens of narcotics, but he still couldn't do simple arithmetic. The influences of his early environment on his decision-making are not surprising. Jelly Roll's first arrest came when she was 14 years old. He was apprehended for stealing marijuana and cigarettes from a store. A chain reaction of problems began with this little offense. He spent the following decade bouncing among prison bars. However, a significant event occurred during his incarceration. Jelly Roll composed his debut rap song on September 3, 2000, when he was 15 years old. In Cell D of the Davidson County Juvenile Detention Center, he was found in possession of an unauthorized pencil and the reverse side of a commissary form. He found solace in writing as a means of processing the events unfolding inside his life. In his early music, Jelly Roll dealt with serious topics such as his hardships and life on Antioch streets. His idols were UGK and 3 6 Mafia, 2 rappers whose music he admired for its sincere vibe. In 2001, when he was 17 years old, he had composed more than 100 songs while inside. After impressing a music teacher who was visiting the Woodland Hills Youth Center with a performance of his own song, Streets Don't Love Nobody, during a 2002 talent event, the center loaned him the tools he needed to create his first demo tape. 5 tracks were made by Jelly Roll. Although it had its flaws, it marked his official debut in the music industry. The debut mixtape by Jelly Roll, Halfway House, was out in 2005. Located in Antioch, he made the recording in his mom's basement. Over the course of its 18 tracks, the mixtape detailed his struggles and aspirations for a better life. The song Hate Goes On gained a lot of airplay and popularity in local nightclubs. It didn't take long for 101.1 The Beat to play it hundreds of times. Since Jelly Roll was short on major funding, he burned out his last $500 to produce 1,000 CDs. From his automobile, he peddled them at petrol stations and barbershops. A local rapper named Hayak was featured on one song, Think I Give a __, and the music video they made for the song gained thousands of views on YouTube in no time. From a young age on, drugs were a significant part of Jelly Roll's life. He began partaking in marijuana and alcohol consumption at the age of 12. Cocaine was his first substance at the age of 13, and he was peddling narcotics by the time he was 15. To help out his mom and himself, he sold marijuana in the beginning. As time went on, he became notorious in his area for peddling drugs like cocaine and painkillers. The more he grew older, the worse his addiction became. At the age of 18, he was regularly partaking in risky drug combinations such as cocaine and Xanax. In 2006, he even had an overdose after combining alcohol, MDMA, and cocaine. After his heart had stopped beating for 2 minutes, paramedics revived him. Not even this near miss could deter him. In 2008, during his last stint behind bars, Jelly Roll finally began to confront his addiction. He started expressing himself musically after enrolling in a 12-step program. He found solace and healing through writing. The year 2009 was pivotal for Jelly Roll's career. Lil White, a rapper from Memphis, reached out to Jelly Roll after seeing his 10-minute freestyle on YouTube. They collaborated on the April 20, 2009 single Pop Another Pill, which was an unexpected success. People began to take notice of Jelly Roll as the song gained millions of views on YouTube. Following that, Snow, Stoner's Night Out, was created by Jelly Roll, Lil White, and another rapper named BPZ. In 2011, DJ Paul and Juicy J of 3 6 Mafia created their album Year Round. The Billboard charts even included it. Despite setbacks, Jelly Roll kept amassing fans. He released 27 albums, EPs, and mixtapes between 2005 and 2015. Through his constant traveling and YouTube life sharing, he bonded with followers. He went so far as to host fan meet and greets at several Waffle House locations, inviting them to spend time with him. Legends were born at these gatherings, and admirers would travel great distances to meet him. When Jelly Roll was hurting, he would listen to music. Addiction Kills was his album that came out in 2015. His battle with addiction was the subject of one song, RX, which struck a chord with listeners. He chose to get clean on the same day he created the song Save Me, which he released in 2020. People adored it because it was honest and moving. He was even certified platinum for the song's success. The message of optimism that permeates Jelly Roll's music extends far beyond himself. His goal is to make people feel less alone by sharing his problems. He famously stated, "Music saved my life, and now I'm trying to use it to save others." On one occasion, the 6th of August 2013 saw the release of Jelly Roll's album Whiskey, Weed, and Women. His affection for the Southern eatery inspired him to first consider the name Whiskey, Weed, and Waffle House. However, Waffle House threatened legal action against him on July 15th, just weeks before the publication, for allegedly exploiting their name and emblem. Jelly Roll remained unfazed by this. Without wasting any time, he retitled the CD and stamped a large cease and desist over the cover. Rather than letting the legal issue drag on, this astute maneuver redirected attention to the record. In its 22 tracks, he displayed his distinctive style by fusing hip-hop, rock, and country. The strong voice and heartfelt lyrics of songs like Creature and Sunday Morning made them stand out. For an indie artist like Jelly Roll, it was a remarkable achievement. Despite the album's debut at number 50 on the Billboard R&B/hip hop chart and its first week sales of barely 1,800 copies. Its authenticity and rawness won many fans. With over 15 million streams, the title tune became an enormous underground sensation. Jelly Roll's unique flair has both helped and hurt his career by 2024. In the years between 2013 and 2020, he put forth music that defied categorization. Juan and Willie, a 2016 collaboration with Struggle Jennings, leans toward country and outlaw rock. In 2017, he returned to hip-hop with a more refined sound with A Beautiful Disaster. However, radio stations and streaming platforms had a hard time placing him due to his continual flipping. Jelly Roll expressed his frustration with record labels not knowing how to promote him, saying, "It's like being musically homeless." He went on to say, "I'm too country for hip-hop and too hip-hop for country," in an interview with Billboard in 2019. He nearly stopped performing entirely in 2018. However, in 2019 he crossed paths with Brantley Gilbert, a country music superstar, who advised him to stay true to his heritage while establishing his own voice. Jelly Roll's 2021 country music breakthrough, Ballads of the Broken, was the result of this encounter, which rekindled his enthusiasm. Jelly Roll, meanwhile, persisted in her battle with addiction. On 2024, he discussed his drug expenditures on a podcast, admitting that he spent over $1,000 a day in 2012. His overdose on heroin and fentanyl on July 15, 2013, was one of his lowest points. He was only saved after 3 doses of Narcan. The next year, in 2015, he relapsed after an unsuccessful effort at sobriety that had lasted 18 months. He had outpatient treatment in 2018 and a 90-day program in 2016, among his many visits to rehab. However, maintaining sobriety remained an ongoing struggle. The demands of popularity caused him to relapse in April 2023, and he used cocaine for 37 days. However, Jelly Roll has maintained her sobriety since May 17, 2023. He has been sober for 20 months as of January 20, 2025, all because to treatment, 12-step groups, and the support of his wife, Bunny XO. He has a sobriety chip on him at all times and has his sobriety date tattooed on his wrist as a reminder of his struggle. The 2020 June 26th release of Save Me by Jelly Roll was a watershed moment in his life. During the COVID-19 lockdowns, he was grieving the loss of his father and felt isolated when the music arrived. According to what Jelly Roll revealed thereafter, it was a bleak period when widespread disinfection made him feel confined to his misery. People could sense the sincerity in every syllable of Save Me, which was genuine and passionate. The song's meteoric rise to fame was rapid. By 2025, the acoustic version had amassed over 200 million views on YouTube, reaching millions of people. Whether it was overcoming an addiction or grieving a loss, fans reached out to Jelly Roll to share how the song had a positive impact on their lives. Also unique was the song's production, which leaned more toward country while retaining some of Jelly Roll's hip-hop influences. This unique blend of styles set it apart. It struck a chord with listeners of many musical stripes, from country to rock to hip-hop. Not only that, but it made an unusual appearance on charts for all 3 genres. After Save Me became popular, record labels began to take notice. His signature was sought for by everybody. A member of the BBR Music Group, Jelly Roll inked a deal with Stony Creek Records on September 9, 2021. Both Jelly Roll and country music took notice of this. He defied the stereotype of a country music star. He had a criminal record, was 36 years old, and was covered in tattoos. However, the record company saw potential in him and paid $3 million to sign him. For a newly minted country music star, this was a monumental transaction. The deal guaranteed 3 albums in 5 years with heavy promotion to ensure their success. As a result of his years of dedicated self-work, this was a monumental achievement for Jelly Roll. Ballads of the Broken, Jelly Roll's debut album on a big label, was released on September 17, 2021. Not long after he signed the agreement. The music on the CD was raw and genuine. It included musical compositions relating to his struggles with substance abuse, mental illness, and the process of making a fresh start. It stood out from other albums because of the unique blend of country, rock, and hip-hop. Dead Man Walking and Son of a Sinner were among the popular songs. On the rock charts, Dead Man Walking even peaked at number 1. With over 100 million streams in the first month, the album quickly became a hit, penetrating the top 10 on Billboard's country chart. By posting personal anecdotes and lyrics to his songs on social media, Jelly Roll brought his audience closer to him. Many critics hailed the album as a top country debut of the year, praising its authenticity and unique sound. It demonstrated that Jelly Roll was revolutionizing country music and wasn't merely another musician. Significantly, Jelly Roll's Son of a Sinner became his first country radio single to reach #1 in 2023. The nearly year-long ascent was well worth it. A lot of emotion was conveyed via the lyrics, which dealt with redemption and hardships. It hit 1 million sales and a platinum certification since it resonated with so many people. It peaked at number 31 on the Billboard Hot 100. The significance of this occasion was immense for Jelly Roll. Many questioned his ability to succeed in country music, given his background as a tattooed ex-rapper. Yet he disproved their claims. In a celebratory statement, Jelly Roll remarked, "Imagine this happening to a guy who grew up in this town, a guy who spent the first 25 years of his life making all the wrong decisions." Roll went on to explain that the song's significance extended beyond the charts, demonstrating that individuals can overcome adversity and achieve success. There are many pivotal moments and unexpected links throughout Jelly Roll's country music career. His association with country music icon Brantley Gilbert is important to his career. Their first collaboration was on June 22, 2012, for the track Son of the Dirty South. The track fused Jelly Roll's rapping style with Brantley's country rock sound, resulting in an innovative and captivating sound. After that, they became close friends, and their friendship continued. They began collaborating on songwriting, and even went on a mini-tour together dubbed the Son of the Dirty South Summer Tour. Jelly Roll once claimed that he talks to Brantley on the phone more than anybody else, save his wife, Bunny XO. Jacksonville, Florida was the starting point of the tour, which concluded in Brandon, Mississippi, and had 5 performances. Spectators were captivated by their onstage connection. They continued making art in tandem. Behind Bars was a song they collaborated on in 2023 with Struggle Jennings. The album Whitsitt Chapel by Jelly Roll had this hybrid of country, hip-hop, and rock. The most shocking thing, though? Since 2023, they have been quietly collaborating on an extended play. If Brantley and his band decide to release it in 2024, as they have stated in 2024, it has the potential to revolutionize country music. On November 13, 2021, Jelly Roll had one of his most moving performances at the Grand Ole Opry. This was more than simply a major professional milestone. It was very meaningful to him. He discovered solace in country music throughout his 2008 incarceration. The memory of Craig Morgan's performance at the Opry gave him optimism. Upon his release from jail, Jelly Roll attended an Opry performance where he sat in the very back row to witness Craig Morgan's live performance. After all these years had passed, Jelly Roll returned to that very stage and proudly displayed the seat he had occupied all those years before. During the concert, he sang 3 songs: Son of a Sinner, Save Me, and Dead Man Walking. His dedication of Save Me to anybody who has ever felt hopeless but discovered hope again made his rendition of the song particularly touching. That wasn't the end of the story. At the Opry in April of 2022, Craig Morgan performed alongside Jelly Roll. Craig even presented Jelly Roll with a framed copy of the song's lyrics, and they sang Craig's Almost Home together. It was a complete circle. Jelly Roll had gone from jail listening to Craig to performing with him. The 2023 CMA Awards were a watershed year for Jelly Roll as well. He was one of the oldest winners ever when he took home the New Artist of the Year award on November 8, 2023, at the age of 39. He assured the crowd, "Success is on the other side of it," as he continued speaking. Backstage, he slipped and damaged his medal, but his enthusiasm was contagious, so he kept going. He didn't let himself become down, but instead made light of the situation by joking about it later on TV, comparing it to his real life, which is chaotic but honest. The publication of Whitsitt Chapel, his record, on June 2, 2023, was another watershed moment. This very intimate album was named after a chapel he attended when he was a child. For a country album debut, it was a record breaker, debuting at #3 on the Billboard 200 and #2 on Top Country Albums. Jelly Roll wrote every one of the album's 13 tracks, and he collaborated with musicians such as Brantley Gilbert, Lainey Wilson, and Yelawolf. The decision to have his adolescent daughter Bay christened was an influence on the record. Songs like Dancing with the Devil and Halfway to Hell, which deal with themes of religion and redemption, were written in response to this. The album was praised by critics for its profound honesty and emotional depth. Additionally, Jelly Roll's travels were monumental. He performed in 44 concerts around the nation in 2023 as the featured artist on the Back Road Baptism Tour. Lil' Kim, Chase Rice, and 3 6 Mafia were among the many performers that graced the tour. At Nashville's Bridgestone Arena, he played before a sold-out crowd of more than 18,000 people. A Canadian tour and an unexpected stadium tour with Post Malone were announced in 2024. Jelly Roll is pushing the boundaries of music in 2025 by bringing together an unlikely duo, a country singer and a hip-hop legend. On August 17, 2022, Jelly Roll's battle with food addiction reached a breaking point. The number 563 pounds stared back at him when he stepped onto the scale that day. He had relied on food for solace for a long time, consuming more than 10,000 calories daily. In an interview he gave on January 5, 2025, he discussed this topic publicly. He admitted to eating entire pizzas by himself while watching television in a binge. He went so far as to confess that he had stowed away goodies in his tour bus for those late-night snack raids when no one else was around. On March 3, 2023, a frightening moment occurred. He consumed a gallon of Coke, 2 huge pizzas, and 37 chicken wings that day. He eventually needed to visit the emergency room due to excruciating chest discomfort. This served as a reminder. His decision to seek assistance came after that. A nutritionist and a therapist who focused on food addiction began working with him. His challenges, however, were not novel. He once devoured a wedding cake that was designed for 200 people in only 2 days in October 2021. Following that, he felt an intolerable amount of humiliation and remorse, he added. January 15, 2024, was the turning point. At the Bridgestone Arena in Nashville, where Jelly Roll was playing to a sold-out crowd of 20,000, the crowd was going wild. While performing, he abruptly halted to make a monumental announcement. "I'm tired of being the fat guy in country music." He then went on to tell the audience, "Tonight, I'm making a promise to all of you and to myself that by this time next year, I'll be half the man I am today." The audience went absolutely ballistic, but they had no clue about the lengths he would go to fulfill that undertaking. Work began for Jelly Roll the next day. For his fitness needs, he enlisted the help of 3 separate personal trainers. To further assist him in altering his perspective on food, he spoke with a sleep expert, a hypnotherapist, 4 dietitians, and others. In order to turn his estate into a fitness facility, he gutted it. It included a basketball court, a swimming pool large enough for the Olympics, and a sauna large enough to accommodate his whole band. His unique eating regimen was dubbed the Nashville Hot Chicken Diet. He was able to enjoy his beloved food in a more nutritious manner. His cooks created an imitation using lean turkey breast, seasoned with secret spices that was 75% lighter in calories without sacrificing flavor. This was part of his 5-a-day diet that also included low-carb veggies and a protein drink with a sweet tea taste. Just as rigorous were Jelly Roll's exercises. Each day began promptly at 4:30 a.m. along a 5-mile route that around his property. Fans who had set up camp outside his gates would occasionally accompany him. At 7 in the morning, he had already swum for 2 hours. Shortly after that, he spent an hour doing basketball exercises. His day would begin with weightlifting and cardiovascular exercise in the afternoons, and it would conclude with yoga and meditation in the evenings. Not even while on tour did he slow down. He walked the same distance in each city he passed through by installing a treadmill on his bus. Extreme temperature treatment was one of his wildest practices. He sunk $500,000 into a cryo chamber, which he used 3 times daily for 3 minutes at -230 degrees Fahrenheit. He would then proceed to spend 20 minutes in a sauna set at 220 degrees Fahrenheit. Even though some physicians were concerned about its safety, he said it helped him burn an additional 3,000 calories daily. Jelly Roll made sure nobody knew about any of this. From his daily weigh-ins and measurements to his blood test results, he posted it all on social media. In a heartfelt video he uploaded on March 3, 2024, he wore pants he hadn't worn since high school. The video went viral, receiving over 50 million views in a single day, and he broke down in tears. A trend known as the Jelly Roll Challenge emerged, in which participants recounted their experiences with losing weight. After just 6 months on the road, Jelly Roll had dropped 150 pounds by June 2024. Due to the extreme nature of his makeover, he had to postpone several tour dates while he had his stage costumes resized and new promotional images taken. More than 500,000 people have joined his official Facebook weight loss support group because of his story. Surprisingly, Jelly Roll discovered that his issues with food were related to his history of drug use, and not only to overeating. Binge eating activated the same regions of his brain that responded to drugs. This clarified why he was never successful on diets. His approach to rehabilitation shifted as he came to this realization. Instead of treating food and addiction alone, he collaborated with specialists in both fields to develop an effective strategy. His life was greatly impacted by therapy. He has logged nearly 500 hours of treatment sessions since he began visiting 5 times weekly in September 2022. He confronted painful realities about his history throughout these sessions. Significantly, he resurfaced a long-forgotten recollection of abuse in March 2023 while undergoing a novel form of treatment. It was a necessary but agonizing step in his recovery. He also started going to meetings 3 times a week for Eat Right Support Anonymous in addition to his treatment. But that wasn't the end of it. The Mojave Desert was the site of Jelly Roll's 72-hour retreat in July 2023. It was difficult. Intense emotional labor and a lack of food characterized the first 2 days. Significant changes occurred in his personal life once he came to terms with the impact his connections were having on him during this retreat. Along with hypnosis and horseback therapy, he experimented with psychedelic treatment. He had not spoken to his father in 15 years, but after just 1 session, he was able to forgive him. He subsequently discussed the heartfelt reunion that ensued in an interview. Whenever Jelly Roll was under pressure, she would find creative methods to relax. A meditation pod was affixed to his tour van in early 2024. Before each performance, he would sit quietly for 30 minutes to clear his mind. This followed his mid-show exit in February 2024 due to a panic episode he had while performing. Additionally, he began to compose music daily to express his feelings. Instead than worrying about getting it right, he simply utilized it as an outlet for his emotions. More than 300 musical compositions were his work throughout the years. Some of these may eventually appear on an album. His Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu journey began in September 2023. Anger management and self-control were 2 outcomes. He was a blue belt by year's end 2024. He went so far as to incorporate dance steps into his presentations, showcasing his progress. During a major interview in April of 2024, he discussed his borderline personality disorder. His relationships and career were impacted, he acknowledged. He went on to say that earlier that year he had considered ending his life. In August of 2024, he discussed the process of treatment and how it helped him face terrible memories on a podcast. Many of his admirers sought assistance after hearing his story.